My project for today is that I'm replacing my tail lights, the original OEM tail lights, with LED, along with an LED backup bulb. I think you can see that in there. So the tail light assembly will be full LED. I'm also going to be replacing my third brake light up there on the back of the cab, and also my factory headlights, upgrading it all to LED and projector style headlights. So I've got this one installed, and I'll walk you through the process on the other side, and the third brake light and tail lights as well. Alright, so the first step is removal of the old tail light assembly. This is really simple. You've got a bolt here and a bolt here, and they are 8mm. Double check that. Yeah, they're 8mm bolt heads. So what I have is it's just a 1/4 inch drive socket with an 8mm. We'll back those two out. And I've had these out enough times that they're pretty loose, so I'll pull those out and show you the internal assembly. Okay, so I've got my bolts out. You reach up here at the top and pop that loose, and then it has another fastener at the bottom. Okay, so there's the old taillight assembly. Get it up here where we can see the. Now I've got some extra wires that you can see there, and those are because I have those LED strips on top of my bumper. It's an LED taillight strip. There's 9 heads, or 9 lights with, I think they have 4 LED heads in each one. So anyways, I have some extra wires. That's why you see the butt connectors and stuff back here. That's to hook that light up. So now this is pretty simple. This is where your bulb plugs in. It's a 1/3 turn, or 1/3 of a turn on both, just like that. Okay, and then your old taillight assembly is disconnected. You can set it aside, and you can see on the bottom I've already put an LED. This is just a clear LED replacement bulb, and that gives me my reverse light. And then on the brake light, tail light, you're going to remove the factory bulb. Okay, just unplugs. Pretty simple. Now I'm gonna wipe this all down real quick. Just kind of wipe the dust off of everything before I put the new one in. Okay. The brand of taillight that I went with is spec-d tuning, spec-d tuning. And the reason that I went with this brand was based on the reviews. I looked at different price ranges, and they were all, roughly in the same ballpark price-wise, around $100 or more for the set, for the pair. But this had the best reviews, and so that's why I went with these. It has 2 components. You've got your tail light assembly, and then you have this relay, and this relay has a little adhesive backing on it. Okay, and the reason for that, and I've already peeled the paper off and I've cleaned the dust off. So what you do is you take this relay and you stick it up in here. Okay, and that gets it up out of the way, up out of the dust and moisture and everything. And then the rest of this, it's all plug and play. So this will plug into that relay. This will plug into the socket where the light bulb went for the rear tail light. Just plugs right in where the light bulb plugged in. And then your clear LED will go right back into this bottom. So after you plug these in, then you put the socket back in, and that's it. So let's see, I'm going to attempt to do this with one hand. So see how well that goes. Hang on just a second here. Okay, so reverse light's plugged in. Kind of get it propped here where I can do this. Okay, so now my relay, yellow and black wires. Okay, they're just going to plug together and make sure that it's lined up with the top opening, which it is. Okay, so that's plugged in. And then again, this plugs in right where the light bulb went. It's pretty simple. And then of course this will plug into the back of the tail light. You tuck your wires in, put it all back in place. It does recommend that you silicone right here where these wires come out. Just put some silicone around that. And before I put it all back together, I'm going to go turn my lights on and make sure that the tail light comes on, because you can have this plugged in backwards. So you've got a 50-50 shot of getting it right. If you plug it in and your tail light doesn't come on, then you unplug it, flip it over, plug it back in, and you're in the right spot. So I'm going to check that real quick. So I have my wires siliconed here. Of course I made a mess with the silicone, but I got my silicone around the gasket on both of those plugs, top and bottom. They're both plugged back in. So last step, make sure that all my, and of course, you know, the relay is in there. So the last step is to make sure all my wiring is lined up and pop it back in place. So as I put it in there, I can reach behind. There we go. Make sure all my wiring is heading in the right holes. Now, the part that has to pop out and pop in, you see that little pin right there headed towards that plastic piece? There's one on top and one on bottom. So both of those have to line up with those little grommets, and then they pop in like so. So now your taillight's back in place, and then you run your screws back in, top and bottom, and that's it. So it is ready to go. I'll get those in and tightened up and turn them on. Okay, so my truck's filthy, sorry for that, but the lights are in and they are pretty bright. I wish I had a side-by-side of the old lights compared to these. Now this is just the tail light, it's not the brake light. Let me flip the turn signal on real quick. You can see a little bit better of the brightness. There we go. That's a little bit better depiction of how bright they are. So they light up nice. They look sharp, nice and clean, nice and bright. They'll be a lot safer, a lot brighter at night. So I'm very happy with these. Apologize for my truck being dirty, but hey, it's a work truck. So to install the new LED third brake light, I've got my Phillips. I've got to take out those two screws, so I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, so here's the factory ugly old faded taillight or third brake light assembly. You simply unplug it here, which is right here. This is the factory wiring coming out of the truck, and you plug your LED right onto it. I'll test it real quick, make sure that it's coming on as it should, and then screw it back in place. It's as simple as that. So very much plug and play. I mean, it doesn't get any easier as far as installation goes than that. So let's get this dude in here and I'll show you what it looks like. Check that out. So the red in the middle, brake light, which just went off, and the clear is your cab lights whenever you open up your cab door. So that is awesome. Very happy with that.